Welcome back to Education Nation. Remember, I'm your host, Dr. Mateen Diop. We are right here at Black Video News. This is a brand new podcast, TV show, whatever you want to call it. We're just starting this thing out, Education Nation. We're going to be talking about all things educational, from K-12 to college to higher ed, wherever we want to talk about, whatever affects our community, that's what we're going to be talking about. So we're back. After this, we're going to be talking about, well, actually right now, we're going to be talking about things that are happening. We're going to start right here in San Antonio, Texas, in Barrett County. And I want to talk about this, bring up this news article that came out about Judson ISD. And the Judson ISD superintendent, shout out to Dr. Fields, that's my guy. There's a story that came out in the San Antonio Express and News that says Judson ISD will now let middle schoolers who fail reading or math advance to the next grade. So before I go into that story, let me kind of give you a little bit of a background. So I'm a former principal, middle school, elementary, high school, done them all, right? So as a high school principal, I remember when the middle school, my feeder middle school, I remember when they wanted to basically unleash their doors and let all the 8th graders into high school that had not passed STAAR, nor were they passing their classes. So as a high school principal, you're kind of really on edge, because when those students leave the 8th grade and they come into the 9th grade and they're not prepared, all of that data, good or bad, but in this case, not so good data, is going to fall on the high school. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you're an 8th grader. You don't pass the STAAR test in the 8th grade. There are no graduation ramifications for not passing STAAR in middle school, only going to the next grade. Doesn't affect high school at all. I tell students all the time, your real schooling starts when you get to high school, because you can't just go from grade to grade without passing. You really have to pass STAAR, you have to pass your classes, you have to get credits in order to graduate. So when they unleash 8th graders who have not passed the STAAR test and they send them to high school and they hadn't passed in the 8th grade, now when they get to high school and take the STAAR test, now it really counts. And all that data now will fall on the high school, and in particular, the high school principal. So reading this story, come to find out that, the principals aren't going to be to blame, but who else is going to be the fall guy? When you have all of your 8th graders coming up, and let's say you have 1,000 9th graders these 8th graders are now 9th graders. When you have them all coming to your high school and they take the STAAR test in the 9th grade, English 1, Algebra 1, Biology, chances are 90% or more of them will fail the English 1 STAAR test. That English 1 STAAR test is a direct bridge to, of course, English 2, English 3, English 4. And remember, you have to pass those in order to graduate from high school. So many students get tripped up as soon as they get to high school and take English 1. So imagine you have an 8th grader who failed in 8th grade, failed the 8th grade STAAR test. Now they're just going to put them in the 9th grade and they're going to take the 9th grade STAAR test. Well, when they fail that 9th grade STAAR test, all bets are off, meaning they have to pass that test in order to graduate from high school. So with Judson ISD letting middle schoolers who fail reading or math advance to the next grade, those 8th graders that are going to go to 9th grade, that's going to fall strictly and solely on the high school. I used to work in San Antonio Independent School District, and when I was a high school principal, that happened to me, except the law of the land wasn't so lenient when it came to high school principals at that time. We had to do something. So those 8th graders that came to me as a high school principal, we didn't get any resources for them. Judson might be a little bit different. They may get some resources for those kids that are coming up. I know the superintendent over there well. I know he's a super, super smart dude. So I know he's going to figure that out. But when I was a high school principal, all of that, we probably had 75 8th graders that were pushed up to the 9th grade. And when those students came into my school, there was no extra resources. There were no extra teachers that we got. Nothing extra came with that. As a high school principal, myself and my team, we had to figure that out and figure it out fast. Now, fortunately, we did. But we'll see how that goes on at Judson. But again, it says more than 1,000 middle school students failing math or reading in Judson ISD will be able to advance to the next grade level under a new policy approved by the board this month. It's going to remains to be seen how they're going to fare when they get to high school. But just remember, when you're in high school, students, parents, when you're in high school, every grade matters. Every score counts. Every STAAR test counts. That's why Education Nation is so important, because we're going to be going into how to read those STAAR results, how you can best help your child succeed and get to the next level. But again, when they get to the 9th grade and they have to take the STAAR test, then it's going to be a big thing. But we're going to come back on the next segment and talk a little bit more. We're going to go into Houston ISD and some more things. But stick with us until the next break, and we'll be right back. Dr. Mateen Diop, Education Nation. See you in a minute.